Let's go. All right, so let's review a couple of things. I want to go start over first with metals. Metals are doing fantastic, especially with Donald Trump behind Twitter. Remember that creates uncertainty. So I want to get started there, guys. I love hate this guy. All right. Regardless opinions, right? Regardless opinion. The point is that this guy creates uncertainty in the markets because he, at the very first, when he started up his administration, well, everybody was afraid, right, of him. In fact, I think he just ended up two wars just by calling them two, right? And he resolved some conflicts because everybody was kind of afraid of what he could be doing. And then as the time went by, kind of like he was called a bluff. And then was that when the tariffs start going when the tariffs start going kind of like wild, right? And then finally, everybody knows what happened with Venezuela. And I think right now that card, that special card, it's in the table, it's on his hand. So he said, "Hey, I was not called bluffed, right? So they called me bluff. I did it. So hold on, because I'm having an eye on Greenland, and I'm talking about involving to some other conflicts." So look at Venezuela, right? Look at Venezuela. So that creates uncertainty in the markets, in the geopolitical, not exactly in the markets, but in the geopolitical countries, right? Or geopolitical aspect, which directly impacts into the market. So enough blah blah blah. Let's go for more poom poom. And what do I get this? Here it is. All right, so let's get started with silver. Silver, it's a very, very, very important metal. By the way, guys, if you are new and you are clueless, let me know. I'll guide you through where to start. Also, if you are new and want to ask any and all of your questions, this is the class for you. Remember that. And well, getting back at right, getting back at where we started, and I need to mute a couple of things. If not, in the recording, you're going to be hearing all of the dings. Let me mute it for a second. Sorry for that. All right, perfect. I think I got it. Sorry for the delay. So, silver is very, very important because it's a very, very good conductor, and also it's very heavily relies, or industry heavily relies on silver, right? It's also gold numbers to section. What's up, brother? Welcome.
What's up, brother? Good to see you.
Good to see you.
Happy Friday, bro.
Let's go. Yeah, absolutely. So I guess I'm gonna spend this weekend dancing.
You better go and find some chica bonitas or something, bro. You got a wedding coming up next week.
Oh well, I have my chica bonita right next to me, and more than dancing, learning how to dance. I have three left foots. Yeah,
3 left foots.
exactly. If you know what I mean.
I love dancing, man. I'm a dancing machine.
Really nice.
That's where I met my wife at we were out dancing, partying.
Wow, nice. Love it. Oh, I like that. How do you call that movie? It was like Ace Ventura or something? Yeah. Love it. Love it. Oh, we have a question from Stock Scalping Samurai. I asked every single grocery store manager in my country for last few years if they would what metals for food during a hype inflation, and they all said yes without hesitating. Oh, wow, very interesting thinking. Absolutely, wow, that's pretty out of the ordinary, I would say. Love it. All right, so if you take a look at what we were expecting here, and let me bring up the chat. Okay, Well, we almost nailed it. I mean, of course, timing is a finicky thing to look for, but basically, we are already into a bounce and we are making a good movement. Something important to note is that we're making it through that zero line in here, that big body candle. If we're able to close that big body candle right where is it right now, I think the next target will be just a little bit higher. Let's keep in mind that the top on this triangle will be somewhere around 80.05 cents or $80.05 for the top. And this is a symmetrical triangle, well, asymmetrical as we can call it. And gold is doing a little bit more of the same. It's breaking that symmetrical triangle. If we're able to hold that position, I'm going to be looking for a slight range or a very quick pullback to then go to the very top at 4,546 before having a little bit of a retracement, creating another trend line like somewhere around like that or like this. I still don't know. We need to wait. That's what I will be expecting. And then continuation to the upside. So keep your eyes on metals. Another important metal will be aluminum or aluminium. And that's also running. I mean, I think it has created or it's creating a big order block in here. Remember that when we talked about morphology, so I will be looking for some sort of triangular pattern to play it out in here. And if not, if we just straight away breakout, well, then look for that continuation to the upside. Here is where we have new time highs or where we don't have any closer resistances. This is where you start pulling up your FIPS, your auto FIPS, and also you start pulling up your what is it, your predictive ranges. So let me bring up a couple of those predictive ranges really quickly. And let's go. So we are basically at the top of one. If we start breaking this predictive range, look for the next blue line. Look at this. When we break the purple line, then very next line that we actually go to look for, in most of the cases, it's the blue line. After that blue line, look at your oscillator, and that will give you most likely the next movement. Although right here, we went straight out for that purple line, right? But look at this. Once again, breaking purple, going to find blue, right? Breaking purple, well, in this case, they're very close to each other. Breaking purple, going to find blue, right? Either if it's at the bottom or at the top. So that gives you direction. So keep an eye or keep in mind that little trick. So, and that is because we're getting closer to hit that purple line. Let's go for another bigger predictive range. And oh, that's not there. I think it's in here. Oh no, you know what? I don't have it in this on this setup. But right here, we also can see our ranges. Our next target will be all the way to 327 with a huge trend line starting all the way till November the 20th on 2025. So looking good for aluminum or aluminium. And well, let's get back at Bitcoin. All right, so Bitcoin, boom shakalaka. We're still within that trade. Just so you guys know, I have moved my stop closer to the previous week. I already have taken close to a 50% out of this trade. In fact, 50% exactly, minus gains. And I mean, plus gains. And well, I'm just waiting to see what's going to happen. If we are able to break this range that I have in here to the upside, well, then that's when I'm going to start looking for taking another 50% of whatever is left and moving my stop to entry. Other stuff that also have been playing out, and let me go to Ethereum. Ethereum, we got that kicked in the balls, but we also came back to get it, and today in the morning taking some profits, 20% out in here to start compensating for this stopped out. So almost breaking even, not quite there yet, but that it is what it is. Render, I was still in that short. So remember, we took 20% out right here, and then yesterday we also took 50% or 30% left to sum up a 50% out right here. And right now we're out of the trade. It's breaking this trend line. All right. So if we're able to hold it above, the next target, I would predict that it's going to be just a little bit higher. And that is because where we have our order blocks. Let's bring them up and look at that. Well, it's not quite an order block. It is, oh no, yeah, it is a liquidity zone. Sorry, not an order block, a liquidity zone and a big area of resistance based on the daily. So maybe going higher, swing failure pattern, and then coming back down. So keep your eyes on render. Another one that has played out, it's H bar. Very nice. Not the very bottom, but very close to it. And we are breaking through. Remember, this is a good area to start taking some profits. I would maybe call out 20% out. Remember that this is a half of a position, and that is because we are below that zero line. Do expect, or at this point, what I'm expecting, it's a reversal somewhere around here where we have this range and the bottom of this other range for a bounce and create a dead cat bounce to the downside. So I'm not expecting an all new time highs, but we are going to keep a 25% in from the initial the Greenland thing from the initial position just to cover a moon target. So that's basically what I got for you guys on both Bitcoin and altcoins. But let me drop my screen and welcome you, Alex. And let me ask you, today I was a little late to the show. I wasn't able to see it, to watch it, but how it went? How was your morning?
Oh my God, it was so slow. I mean, so like today we got unemployment data, which came in bearish because it came down. We wanted it to go up so that they cut rates. Rate cuts then went from, I think it's like 15% all the way down to like 2% chance. So that's out the window now. So no rate cuts. So be aware of that. And then we had the tariff decision for Donald Trump at 10 a.m. and they delayed that one. So the market, if we look here, we can see here's the jobs data news. Here's the anticipation for the tariffs, and here's them saying, "Oh, never mind." Okay, so that's what happened today. It's Friday, so what do we expect? We expect a range to develop, and for us to go into the weekend, right? So I managed to take 2 trades today. I managed to take a continuation long here, and is it here? I think it was here. Yeah, here and here. Very small trades, $200, $200. Yesterday I hit that big trade, so I was tired this morning too. It's like I always try to talk to people about how do you feel in the morning. I didn't sleep well last night, so for me it was like I don't want to over trade when I'm not feeling, top notch, right? Because trading is very exhausting. But we are starting to form a bit of a balloon dog right now. So slow 1K day, yeah. Yeah, I know it's crazy, but we are starting to get a balloon dog right now. I mean, yesterday was, I had like a $11,000 day yesterday. So today's a slow 1K day, right? So I mean, try not to be egotistical, man. It's hard. I'm very grateful that trading is paying my bills, but right now we have an orb reclaim continuation. So for me, I'm looking for a VWAP retest, orb retest, developing a range. But that's pretty much what we have now. There's a couple things that you need to be prepared for going into next week. Did you know next week statistically is the most volatile week in trading per year? Statistically, there's a surge of liquidity and volatility that comes in between, I believe it's the 10th and the 20th of January every year. Sometimes it doesn't come. Sometimes but the hit rate's pretty high, and we could get partying next week. So that's something that you should keep in your mind because you think about it. We have a rally starting the year, right? So typically when you look at, whatever you're looking at, we have a rally starting the year because what? People tax loss harvest, right? And then they're reallocating into the stock market, right? So you start the year off, beautiful, happy days. Here's your start of the year. We rally, we retest, we go, right? People have allocated, and now we have come back to retest, right? OC and I have talked to you guys extensively about, what are the options here? It's the retest continuation here, or it's the spring consolidation continuation into who knows. This is the question mark, is what happens if we get up here. Okay. So preparing for this, right? We just want to definitely be prepared. So what do we see here? Well, we see our 3 taps, SFP. Okay, so that's bearish typically. Now we do have our uptrending momentum here. The most interesting thing with that information that I told you about next week, OC, do you want to know what is? The
What
most
is it?
interesting thing? Have you looked at what the NASDAQ's looking to do?
I haven't seen it
Look at
since
this.
yesterday.
We are in a very, very tight, big favorite pattern of Alex O Crypto
The medical triangle.
area. Okay.
Love it.
This is all the way from the low, man.
Oh, holy shit.
I mean, this is huge, right? So this is a decision. Typically with any stupid triangle, okay? You get to 70% full, so 30% remaining, that's where you get your decision. That's where it goes up, fake out, whatever, but this is where you're going to get a decision in either direction. So going into next week, we should have a decision on NASDAQ with extreme volatility. So it could be fucking fireworks, or it could be we're going to zero next week. I don't want to scare anyone, but get your diapers out. Whatever, right? Like whatever your bias is, right? You have a flat top here even, right? So you could say this is an ascending triangle. You can say whatever you want. But we could get this, we could get this, we could get this, right? So I think this is, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Yeah. So Thursday next week, Friday next week latest, for this to kind of come to fruition. So very, very, very interesting how things kind of align, right?
Yeah, I just
And
want
how
to
they
pitch.
didn't fucking do the tariffs today. They didn't, jobs data's down, no rate cuts, right?
Absolutely. Just want to pitch in really
It's all a
quickly
game.
and tell you guys that take this for what it is. We still have time, all right? 1 week's time. You still have enough time to allocate your positions, plan for your stop losses, right? And plan for your worst case scenario. Also, remember where the big supports, big resistances, so you can set alerts. And regardless where the price moves, whenever it's hitting that support resistance, you do the contrary, right? So if it hits support, you buy. If it hit resistance, you sell. Short move, short burst, and move stop to entry quickly. All right. So just saying, you still have time. Prepare for what's coming.
Yeah, and that's it. Like you may say, "Oh, it's the Nasdaq," right? Well, look at how fucking similar the Nasdaq and Bitcoin are. It's not. It decoupled a little bit over here, okay, but it's the same shit. Okay, it's decoupled here, but look, it still goes up, down, up, down. It's the same thing. Bitcoin's leveraged Nasdaq. Sometimes it decouples, but at the end of the day, this is a much bigger market than crypto. So if Big Daddy wants to go to the fucking moon, you think it's not going to pull up Bitcoin with it? Absolutely. Right? Same S&P all-time highs, holding the higher lows, continuation. Same kind of deal. Not as tight here, not same kind of pattern here on the S&P. But still, it's still in a very big decision point. So I think we'll have a lot of clarity or confusion Right? Like that's the thing. You'll have clarity. Maybe it's a breakout, retest, continuation up to 100K, right? Maybe it's finally flipping 94, going up to 98, getting rejected, right? Clarity, right? Maybe it's that blast down to 80K, taking the low SFP bounce, right? It's not for us to decide. It's for us to be reactionary, right? Just to anticipate, right? Because if we can anticipate, we can make money, right? If we know that there's liquidity down here, we have failed to get above here. We know that major resistance is right here. Okay, we know these things. Okay, so what are the options, right? It's a breakout, retest, reaction up here, dump, or flip and go. Okay. Or it's lose 89, which is very important in my opinion. 89 is kind of my line in the sand right now. We hold 89, we're good to go. If we can accumulate above 89 and then pop, I think that's the most bullish we can do as long as we hold 89. We lose 89, we're coming for this guy. No, we're coming for these guys minimum 87,000. Major volume support here that we've put in, okay? Major. You see the point of control here, right? So we lose 89, which we came down and tapped yesterday. If we lose that, we're going to 87. Easy, because this is your range, right? If we lose this, right, we've tapped here. Right? Here's our range below. Right? So if we get acceptance into the lows, right? If we get acceptance below here, we come down to the bottom of the range. Very simple. Okay, liquidity is here. Okay. Bulls aren't defending here, so liquidity is what they come for. Okay, if we push out here, right, what are we trying to do? We're trying to continue out of this 94 area and trying to attack 98. Okay. If we lose this range here, we are definitely coming for this low. There's not a lot stopping us, except for this volume right here. All right. So if this, then that. Right now we are in a little bit of an accumulation zone. So preparing for this right now is what we do, right? When we look at our oscillator on chart prime here, what we can see, it's very clear, right? Overbought, coming for the highs. We pushed up very aggressively, very clear, right? So what's the hopium? The hopium is that we come back and we hold, right? So if we're looking for something to hold, we can zoom down into here. We can see nice curvature coming in on our 12-hour here. We can see nice higher low here. Okay, trying to push back up. Okay, and then the hopium starts at the 4-hour, really, in my opinion. So we have bottoming structure here, higher low, right? I would have preferred a sweep today, but we didn't get it. And we have yet to close above this high here yet. So if this candle today would close above this high, that would be bullish. Because then we're looking for retest continuations. Okay. For now, we have not even the hourly has closed above this high yet. Okay. This is a 3-drive SFP. Hey, we could close 14 minutes on this candle. We could push up right now and close above it. It's really trying to change that structure as we speak right now, right? We'll see if we do it. Okay. So downtrend, we longed here, we got out, come back down, higher low, trying to continue, trying to rotate up to the liquidity above. This is all liquidity in here, right? Defending this liquidity and this order block in here. Golden pocket, retrace, swing low to swing high. Alexo Crypto, pink box, right? So trying to hold here, trying to push. Can we do it? Maybe. We'll see. So right now, no trades for me. I'm tired today, guys. So like for me, it's like it would be forced, but we can see here on Bitcoin VWAP retest, perfect VWAP retest continuation trade here. Didn't fully tap VWAP, so a little bit concerning. Might have to come back down and go. right? Breakout retest, come back down and go. We got orb down here as well. Okay, so trying to hold orb and VWAP here. As long as we hold above orb and VWAP down below here, okay, I remain bullish right now. Okay, here's our orb, here's our VWAP. I'm looking for a retest back down in long. That's what I'm looking for, but no trades so far. No trades so far. So patience right now, consolidating. Decision on NASDAQ. Looking for a potential higher low on Hyperliquid right now. I think Hyperliquid hasn't had a day in the sun yet. Still very beaten up. Looking here for Hyperliquid at 25.30. That's something that's on my radar. Yeah, nothing else has come back to where I want it to be. Still waiting here. Yeah, still waiting on a lot of the altcoins for a retracement if we're going to get it. The big tell lately, in my opinion, has definitely been Ethereum. Ethereum looks terrible, in my opinion. We've pushed out here. Okay, cool. But if it loses 33,050, we're in trouble. It's the first sign of strength on ETH right here. Okay, terrible all the way down. So our first sign of strength on ETH. Can we get going? ETH's got to go, man. If ETH and Solana don't go with Bitcoin, altcoins are in trouble. So the first sign of strength here on ETH, but very, very choppy, and it's been very ugly on the way down, just rolling over. Look at the volume and the wicks on this thing. It's been really ugly. So bull div here, higher high, higher low, continuation trade. Be looking for this thing to hold this range, right? Otherwise, this is another accumulation. And if we fail to go here, then we're coming back down, and then we'll see if we go. So, patience right now. Yeah, Solana too. I long Solana here yesterday, and I closed it here. But it's been this has been pretty stuck right now, so I do not trust them. Yeah, we'll see if so for now it's a wait and see, especially on a Friday, because Friday you're putting in a high, you're putting in a low for a range. Like if we get going, cool. If we get going out of here and we get pushing up, right? We'll have created a lot of liquidity for the weekend, right? And Saturday's been actually pretty volatile lately. So if you got double bottom in here, this is all your liquidity. So you'll have your liquidity in here. Okay, if you get going here, you break out, you're looking to come back in and retest, looking to come back and grab liquidity all weekend long for continuation trades. So for now, I wait. It's hard to wait sometimes, but it's important. That's how you save your capital. And that's what I'm looking at right now. Dur wants to know, OC, can you explain the higher highs and higher lows or lower highs on the Oscillator Pro Plus and its meaning, please?
Absolutely. Higher highs and higher lows on the Oscillator Pro Plus.
Continuation with goosenecks. He likes his goosenecks.
Nice. Absolutely. So let me bring a couple of things first. I'm gonna get to it really quickly. But I also want to answer a question. Can Bitcoin go below its production cost? Yes, it can. And it has actually. There is a indicator that I don't know why it's not working on my end. It had an update that make it not work. So it's called a hash ribbon. You make it big, you'll see right here that it's flat, right? All the way till here, it is flat. I don't know why am I doing wrong with the hash ribbon, but if I go to one of my very old charts like this, you see the hash ribbon is actually working, and this was the last update. So as you can see, I have not yet updated it. So it's by Caprelli Investments. I don't know what's the deal, but so far, we already had a buy signal on that indicator. So almost every single time, and I'm not telling you to buy and sell on this kind of signals, but almost every single time that it had flashed a buy signal, that is when miners are going out of their production cost back into profits, right? So that's where miners are capitulating and then goes back up. And based on here, you get a buy signal, right? Another buy signal in here, another buy signal in here, and another, and lastly, another buy signal. Let me zoom in. And this only works, by the way, on the daily. So regardless what you look for, there's only daily data. So right here, you'll see that we had a buy signal right in here, and it has worked quite well. Although right after this buy signal, we went right back into capitulation. All right. So have we had that before? Yes, but there's been a very long time since we got one of those. Let me show you, and I believe it was the previous cycle. Here it is. So in fact, here we should have had a buy signal and then went back below right in here. And what we did, it was range a little bit. So that's some fun, like when you see that buy signal being hit. And just to show you guys, let's just leave this, that right now, for some reason, the thing is not working on this chart. I don't know if I'm doing something wrong. If you guys know the reason, please let me know on the side chat. All right, getting to the next question. Gary, you mentioned, can you explain the higher highs and higher lows, low and lower highs of the oscillator Pro Plus? Absolutely. So there's two ways that we can tackle that. Let me first tackle what I believe you mean, and then I'm going to be giving you kind of like a pro tip based on what I have discovered, right? So the very first thing is higher highs and higher lows. Like for example, here, remember that your oscillator, regardless, let's go to a cleaner chart, better. Let's go to BTC USD. And let's go to Bitfinex that I never use. All right, perfect. Let's just clear this up. Let's wait for it to load. Much better. All right, so right here, for example, I think this is what you're looking for, right? Remember that this is momentum. What does that mean? It means that it is trending. But what is it trending? What is trending is the momentum. Momentum is highly pegged to your price action, right? So it is just means that, well, the momentum is trending down. We have a threshold, right? Just like, for example, in here, this looks like a range, but if we do the trending, right, you'll see that the trend was broken here and went to a range. But also, if we do the trending, you'll see that the trend was also, well, gain in here and then went back downwards. All right. So what is the difference, or where is the pivot point? Well, you'll see that it's a little confusing because the uptrend was broken here, and the downtrend was basically confirmed. I don't know. Let's just downtrend was confirmed. In fact, was confirmed right there, but also everything falls inside a range. So what the hell, right? It's just part of the natural process. This overlaps, and this is what most of the people get it wrong. So that's why we add the dynamic reactor to show you, right, the pivot point where one thing is completely to the other side. So basically, yes, we could have said that we started on the lower low, right, after a lower high and lower low, right? So right there, but we lose the actual volume from previous range and even from the previous bullish movement right at the dynamic reactor. So we turn absolutely bullish, breaking that dynamic reactor. Well, since we don't have a dynamic reactor here, what we have, or what we use, is the zero line, since our oscillator is constricted among two support and resistances, right? So let's add it here manually. Let me double click 0, 0. Oh, look at that. Couldn't have been better. And then let's lock it, right? So this is basically your zero line is basically your your dynamic reactor. So once you break the zero line, you're completely bearish. And once you break above the zero line, you're completely bullish, right? You can always do technical analysis like this. So high, right? Lower low, lower high, lower low, and then there you go. Look at that. Just like Alex mentions in the price action, higher low, higher high. Boom. Breakout retest continuation. So what could your entry would be? Could be right at your breakout retest continuation, but also breaking above your zero line. Those three. So what was your entry? Right there. Right? Yep. I mean, it was not a to the moon trade, but it was a profitable trade, right? The same way the other way around. So you start looking for downtrend, and remember, you start longing where the downtrend is broken, right? Or you start shorting where the uptrend is broken, like for example in here, right? Or where you have your lower low and break through that zero line, which would have been in here. So as you can see, this was your shorting scenario, and despite it was not to zero, it was a good trade to go down, right? So the easy way would be just look at if it's above or below your zero line. Now, I don't know if that answers your question here. Let me know. I have noticed that when there's a next low, high price could go up a notch. Well, yes. Let's see. I've noticed that when there's a next low, a lower high. Yeah. Let's go for that. I think I know what you're talking about. And that it has to do of oh come on, I'm just messing things up here. That has to do with the micro trend that we are seeing in here. At the end of it all, let me show you. Let me find one. I think this is gonna be a good one. Let's do trend line. Let's do trend line. At the end of it all, a spike to the upside like this means increase of momentum. So regardless you're bullish or bearish, right? Even if you're going lower and then you have a increase of momentum, that's when you get the next leg up, right? And then when you lose it, well, maybe you lose it a little bit, right? And then you have another leg up, and then it makes something like that. And then you have a big dump, and then that actually creates a lower low. I think this is what you mean, right? This weird fake out that happens on price action. And that's exactly what it is. It's an overdrive that it was not able to hold, right? So it's 11 a.m. I don't know, Alex, if you have time to stick around or if you need to be somewhere else.
I do have to go and teach, man, but
Absolutely.
happy Friday, everybody. Thank you guys so much. Have a wonderful weekend. And I will see you guys later, man. Have a wonderful
Absolutely.
weekend, OC. Take care, man.
Take care, brother. Have a great weekend. All right, so I think this is what you mean, right? This little weird push up, so that goes tiny a little bit higher, and that's what we have two consecutive highs, right, against one center low, and that is because you're adding more momentum, right? So remember, momentum is either volume or money flow. So having those might make this kind of spike. I don't really look at this because it gets more confusing or it involves more brain power. And you know me, I try to keep it as simple as possible, right? The less brain process that I need to do, the better. That way I don't need to kind of go in depth, but I like the way that you're discovering these kind of things because they're pretty interesting, right? How would you take advantage of this? Well, you will be looking both at your overdriving here, right? To double momentum. So double momentum, right? You see that? And the next step will be the decisive one. This one in here. If we're able to have the next leg down and then hold it, that's your entry. If we would have been able to hold this next point, that would have been at that moment, that would have been your entry. And of course, this would have been higher because we have much bigger, right, momentum drive to the upside, if that makes sense, right? The next thing that I want to show you, and I know you already know this, but then you just look at it at a farther outside or farther look in here, right? So what I'm trying to say, it's, for example, as we break above, right? And then we stay above, right? So yes, we can do some little fake outs, but mainly we stay above, right? And then as we break down and we did not stay down, we make a V-shaped recovery, right? But so we're gonna mark that, and then as we stay above till we break downwards in there. So you can start looking at this. So hey, if we stay up, the price action goes up, right? If we do just a V shape, the V shape is going to be respected. If we stay up, the price action is going to go up. And here's where the, let's just say, quote unquote, difficult part is, right? Right here, you would have to say, hey, this and this and up and down, right? And it gets not consistency, right? Because you cannot tell when we're staying above or staying below. And that is because we have counteract movement. So we have a, let's just say, a box this size, right? And then we have the same box, the same area, right? So they balance each other. So they cancel each other, which leaves the price action to be within a range. So pick at the top, pick at the bottom, pick at the top, pick at the bottom, pick at the top. Oh, and look at that. We quite didn't got that low. And here's where I would leave your next question could be falling in line. Because right here, you are making a higher low. You see that? So this higher low, right, could be the result of a bigger movement. And just like we learned in here and we learned in here, all right? So we have 1, 2 drive and then decisive movement, if that makes sense. Right? So let me just get rid of the, not that. This one. So this is the decisive move right here, right? Let me just get rid of this, and this is your decisive move that was broken, right? So in this case, you have your first drive, you have your second drive, and you have your decisive movement with money flow being above the 0 line. That was your entry. And this is just strictly talking about higher highs and higher lows on your oscillator. Look at that beautiful movement, right? So your entry was pinpoint 1 candle before or 1 candle after, depending on how fast you were to identify it, right? Still, I mean, this was a pretty profitable movement. It also happens with there's a divergence lines. Not really, because divergence is not, it's actually showing you disparity between the price action and the momentum. So, but kind of like, yes, if that makes sense. Let me go for that. So divergence is completely another breed, right? So let me see. Do I have divergence on here? Doesn't seem like it. There you go. And I don't like these divergences, so let's just turn them off. Let's just wait for it to load. There we go. So yes, in this case, we have a lower low, right? But the price action is not doing anything. So it is not coupling with this thing. So it means it's building up opposite direction, if that makes sense. So bearish divergence, should we be going lower as we build up more negative momentum? And we did. And it's not immediate. Sometimes it takes a little while, right? In bullish divergence, again, it's not always immediate, right? But usually means that we're building up unless we have the opposite movement to the downside, which again, that's why the divergence need to be taken very specially. The divergence are a very good and powerful tool if you couple them or if you pair them with something else, which is support and resistances. Why? Because this is only showing you a divergence, is only telling you, you know what? The momentum is going down, right? Lower lows, but I don't see exactly the same thing happening here. So we are either ranging or going up while we have momentum down. So it's telling you, hey, the price action is not responding to the momentum. So something weird is happening, most likely manipulation, right? But what if that manipulation did play out, right? Or does play out based on FOMO or food. That's the breaking point of the divergence, and there is no way to tell if people are actually going to get FOMO or food, right? So that's why divergence by themselves is a hit or miss. But when you pair them with support and resistance and reversals, for example, right, they become a very good tool. So pair it with lower lows and lower highs. I wouldn't put it in the same category, but they are related structure wise, right? Not fundamentally wise, but structure wise, if that makes sense. What I don't like the orange because they tend not to be that dramatic. And remember, if I'm looking at divergences and they're just hit and miss, if I'm not using with something else, I just want the cream of the cream, if that makes sense. I don't want like uh soft movement because these are normal divergences, right? Main divergence. And these other two ones are hidden divergences. Hidden divergences is not that they're vanilla or anything like that. They just take longer to play it out and they are based on normal market conditions, right? So where you have selling pressure and then you have just a little bit more stretch, right, on the market. That's due to normal market conditions in most of the cases. While in most of the cases, not every single time, but most of the cases, normal divergence are due to manipulation. So they tend to be much more dramatic. So that's why I don't like the other ones because they add more stuff to my oscillator. And look at that, I already have like a bunch of stuff in there, right? So I try to be selective of what I use. And by the way, for example, I believe, if I'm not mistaken, Alex Fernandez love hidden divergences, and that plays out very nice for him, right? But yeah, if you ask me personally, that's why I don't like hidden divergences. All right, guys. So we kept going over a little bit in overtime. So let's wrap this up. Let's take a look at one more thing, which is just take a look back at what Bitcoin is doing in the last candle. And let's go over that. Let's go to the 4 hours. And seems like we are pushing again forward, right? Remember that we talked about breaking this little range if we're able to push through, and seems like we are going to try it because of money flow trying to also go higher, right? But not there yet, not quite there yet. Seems like, or have the is suggesting that it's going to try to make a push. Hopefully we're able to make it, and going for a dead cat bounce. What's the difference between the prime oscillator plus and the prime oscillator plus plus? The plus plus is a limited oscillator just built for hackers essentials. So you don't get the full oscillator plus, if that makes sense. So from the prime oscillator plus plus is just a hacker's essential indicator, which is a light version of the prime oscillator plus. Yeah, exactly. It's an influence indicator. Only hackers, exactly. But if you have, so use the plus one. Use the one with just one plus. That's the one. Yeah. Use the one with plus, or just use the one the oscillator pro. Any of those will do. If you have the plus plus, unless you're just doing hacker strategy, the pro plus, yeah. If you have the plus plus, unless you're doing strictly a hacker strategy, well, you're missing out on many other tools. But yeah, absolutely. All right, guys. So that's gonna be it for today. Hopefully, you guys had fun. Keep an eye on the coins that we talked about: Jasmine, Bitcoin, TAO, Ethereum, Render, WMTX, HBAR, aluminum, gold. Right. I think they're good movers. We'll see how they played out throughout this week, and remember to be quick on react on new data, which means if you have new data suggesting that this is going down instead of up, move your stop closer to entry, do take some profits, reallocate your momentum. Reallocate your positions based on momentum, and look for not what the price is at now, but where would the price be at. All right. So you're not chasing after the price. You are seeing what is your support. You open up a long in there. You see what is your resistance, and you open up a short in there. All right. So other than that, guys, have a fantastic weekend. Hopefully, you guys have fun. And as always, see you guys Monday.